Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the whole effing show. And this is AEW 2K Dynamite. Make sure to hit that like and follow. We are live here tonight in a sold-out arena in Los Angeles, California. And we start tonight off with the man who cost Cody Rhodes his opportunity at a rematch with Jon Moxley when he would curb stomp Cody Rhodes, allowing Kenny Omega to retain his rightful number one contender spot in AEW 2K. Tonight, we will have a first encounter between Seth Rollins and MJF. It was Cody Rhodes who initially attacked Seth Rollins after Jon Moxley went after Cody Rhodes' family. He considered Seth Rollins the closest thing Jon Moxley had to family. And after taking out Seth Rollins, he would come up unsuccessful at Full Gear against Jon Moxley. In order to get back to a rematch with Jon Moxley, he would challenge Kenny Omega. And that's when the opportunist Seth Rollins would strike. And it was Maxwell Jacob Friedman
and his opponent representing
who would lose to Cody Rhodes in the very first main event of AEW Dark 2K that freed Cody Rhodes from the stipulation that he could never challenge for the AEW World title. Since then, MJF feels that he has been overlooked, underutilized, and he looks to change that here tonight when he goes one-on-one with Seth Rollins. And here we go. Two men who are probably on the outside looking in as far as that number one contender. A win here tonight will definitely help climb them up the ranks. And Maxwell Jacob Friedman off to an early start against Seth Rollins. Sky's the limit for Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Textbook dropkick. Seth Rollins was able to telegraph the second And now the Architect with a dragon screw leg lock. Smart strategy to slow down Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Knife edge chop from Seth Rollins. And now it's Seth Rollins returning a dropkick. Enziguri Seth Rollins seems to have turned things around. And a snap suplex from Seth Rollins. MJF has not had the best luck since this 2K series has started. You could say the same for Seth Rollins. Both desperate in need of a win. If they want to challenge for that AEW World title. Great move from Maxwell Jacob Friedman, but Seth Rollins was able to kick out. And now it's MJF in firm control with the gut wrench powerbomb. MJF with the home field advantage, being an AEW original. The one person who might be an even dirtier, slimier heel than Seth Rollins, MJF. I would say he's the dirtiest player in the game, but that name is reserved for Ric Flair, the Nature Boy, competing for the first and last time in AEW 2K here tonight against Jay Lethal. Last week, the general manager, Ric Flair, who was unable to compete while under contract as the active general manager, relinquished his role as the general manager. But he wrote into the contract that he would perform one last match in AEW Dynamite 2K. And wait a minute. It's Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, the man that Seth Rollins curb stomped last week on AEW Dynamite. And MJF able to take that distraction and use it to his advantage. And wait a minute. The Heat Seeker, MJF, has just laid out Seth Rollins with the Heat Seeker. Is that enough to pick up the win? Seth Rollins able to kick out, and Cody Rhodes is furious. MJF is livid, but MJF, wasting no time, goes right for the follow-up. And that's got to be it, but Seth Rollins kicks out once more. Seth Rollins, who stole Cody Rhodes' opportunity to put himself right back into contendership. And now it's Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes cannot wait any longer, and MJF is just going to sit back and watch it all go down. But that means Seth Rollins wins the match by disqualification. MJF is furious about it. And the AEW women's division continues to grow as we have Indy Hartwell making her debut against Billie Kay.
Making her way to the ring.
Billie Kay picked up a huge victory a few weeks back, and what many would consider an upset when she defeated Kushida. Tonight, Billie Kay looks to go for her second victory and really climb the ranks of the women's division and the power ranks. This is a huge opportunity for Indy Hartwell to capitalize on that momentum. If she's able to stop Billie Kay here tonight, she could quite possibly make the power rankings this week.
From Sydney, Australia, Billie Kay.
Billie Kay, an honorable mention last week on the power rankings. She for sure will make a spot on the top 10 if she is able to defeat Indy Hartwell here tonight, and will come one step closer to being able to challenge for that AEW women's title. The current AEW women's champion, Sasha Banks, co-leader of the Bullet Club with Finn Balor, was number 1 on the ranking. And that just goes to show how serious the women's division is taken in AEW 2K. And women lock up to start. Indy Hartwell with a nice takedown. Billie Kay able to turn things around. And we got some nice back and forth action to start things off. Two of my personal favorite female wrestlers, Indy Hartwell and Billie Kay. Both I believe to be from Australia. And shades of Mr. Perfect, Billie Kay with a perfect plex. She wastes no time going for the pin, but it's too early in the matchup. Big boot from Billie Kay. Billie Kay, as I mentioned before, defeated Kushida. And she is going to show everybody what she is made of now that she is on AEW 2K, where she'll be allowed to shine. Indy Hart missing a clothesline, and Billie Kay able to turn that to her advantage with a Hurricane Rana. And Billie Kay turning up. Indy Hartwell was in a bad place, but Billie Kay took too long. And now, Indie Wrestling is looking to make a huge statement here tonight. That was a nice, very nice move from Indy Hartwell right there. And a scoop power slam from Indy Hartwell. Billie Kay in big trouble. But right when I say that, Billie Kay able to counter. But Indy Hartwell counters into a Death Valley drop. Shades of Sting. And a knife edge chop from Shades of Ric Flair. And she's going up to the top. If Indy hits her patented elbow drop, that just might be it. Billie Kay able to kick out of Indy Hartwell's elbow drop from the top rope. Billie Kay showing heart. But Indy Hartwell, she is staying on top of things. And that just might be it. But Billie Kay, for the second time, kicking out. Billie Kay showing the heart of a champion. But Indy Hartwell with the second elbow drop, but she misses the second one. And can Billie Kay? Oh, Billie Kay could not. She could not take advantage of the missing top elbow drop. And Indy Hartwell is in trouble. Billie Kay was able to kick out of her best move. Billie Kay is not trying to lose the momentum she has. And that was a nice brainbuster variation from Billie Kay. But it's going to take more than that. Indy Hartwell has been in control most of this matchup. And the iconic split. Billie Kay busts that thing open right there for a moment. Here we go. Billie Kay, what does she have in mind? Billie Kay is setting Indy Hartwell up for a torture rack. And Indy Hartwell able to get out. These women are putting on a great exhibition here tonight. And I think the entire women's locker room needs to take notice. And a vicious running knee to the midsection from Indy Hartwell to Billie Kay. And a discus clothesline from Indy Hartwell. And Indy Hartwell taking time to gloat to the fans. Billie Kay is in a terrible position. And Hartwell wasting no time, suplexing her back into the ring. Indie Wrestling called out Billie Kay for this matchup after seeing her as an honorable mention. And she took advantage. Huge victory here tonight for Indy Hartwell, who was able to derail Billie Kay's momentum. And now it might be Indy Hartwell and the honorable mention or top 10 of the power rankings this week. We'll have to see how things go. Billie Kay only falls to 1-1. She is still in the middle of the rankings. She can hold her head high. She put on a great matchup. But tonight belongs to Indy Hartwell, who makes good on her debut in AEW 2K Dynamite. And it is the first of two AEW Tag Team Tournament to crown the number one contenders to take on the Young Bucks. And it was Jurassic Express defeating the Viking Raiders 2 weeks ago on AEW Dynamite. Will be taking on the Good Brothers, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, who were able to defeat the Best Friends on that same very episode of AEW Dynamite. Jungle Boy has a ton of momentum on his side. He was successful when he defeated EC3. And successful with his tag team partner. But tonight,
and their opponents, at a combined
they have their hands full with two men who are very familiar with tournaments, coming from New Japan Pro Wrestling. They've collected titles in every organization that they've competed in. And they look to do the same in AEW 2K. AJ Styles is not here to accompany the Good Brothers here tonight. Jurassic Express has a fighting chance. And it is the first of the semi-final AEW 2K Tag Team Tournament. The OC, who defeated the Best Friends 2 weeks ago on AEW 2K Episode 7, taking on Jurassic Express, who defeated the Viking Raiders on that same episode. The winner of tonight's matchup will face the winners of next week's matchup between the Street Profits and New Tokyo's Hiromu Takahashi and Sonata. The OC have come to AEW 2K with AJ Styles. And it's curious to see what happens when their paths finally meet with AEW 2K's Bullet Club, led by Finn Balor, accompanied by Sasha Banks and the Young Bucks. Carl Anderson muscling Jungle Boy into the corner. Jungle Boy had to fend for himself the first 6 weeks on AEW 2K, as Luchasaurus was not initially signed to the company. He did rather good for himself, but since Luchasaurus has debuted, they have advanced in the tournament, and they look to go further here tonight. AJ Styles cannot be here to accompany the OC tonight, but I'm sure he has faith in Gallows and Anderson. And right when I say that spinning heel kick from Luchasaurus, I'm surprised Carl Anderson able to get out, and Carl Anderson hit with one of his own finishing moves, the stun gun. Luchasaurus adding insult to injury, using that move of all moves on Carl Anderson. Jurassic Express disrespecting here tonight. And the youngest competitor in this matchup, son of Luke Perry, Jungle Boy, has a ton of potential. And Jungle Boy, while he has a ton of potential, he could use a ton of experience, as he has shown his inexperience at the moment, letting Carl Anderson rest. Anyone else would have followed up immediately. Jungle Boy is fairly young though. And like I said, that inexperience cost him very impressive running powerbomb from the machine gun. Ran Jungle Boy halfway across the ring. And now the OC are back in control of this matchup. And Carl Anderson taking time to gloat. Tags in the big man, but not before he gets one last sucker punch off on Jungle Boy. And Jungle Boy is in the worst possible place he could be, on the outside with both members of the OC. And Luke Gallows throwing Jungle Boy into that steel post, not once, but twice consecutively. And now Gallows throwing Jungle Boy back into the ring. Jungle Boy crawling to his corner, able to make the tag. Can Luchasaurus make a difference? Apparently not. And now Luchasaurus starting to fight back in the dinosaur. with the master's degree, is taking it to Luke Gallows. And Jungle Boy said, you want to jump his boy on the outside of the ring. We could take it to the outside of the ring. But he'd rather handle his business inside of the ring. And that moment, pandering to the crowd, cost Luchasaurus, Carl Anderson, able to capitalize in a top rope leg drop. Shades of Sabu. Almost got a 3 count for Carl Anderson here tonight. The OC, very familiar with tournaments from their time working in New Japan Pro Wrestling. More than likely the favorites for this entire tournament. And I feel after they took out a AEW original tag team and the Best Friends, what a huge statement they would make here tonight if they were able to do the same against Jurassic Express. And what a submission from Carl Anderson. Is Jungle Boy going to tap out? Jungle Boy showing some leg strength, able to escape from that submission hold. And Carl Anderson with that trademark spinebuster. Is that enough? It is. The OC advance to the finals. Carl Anderson with the trademark spinebuster was able to keep Jungle Boy down for just 3 seconds. And that's all it takes. Just 3 seconds. What a huge victory here tonight for the OC. AJ Styles has got to be pleased in his boys. And as we look back at that amazing spine buster from Carl Anderson. In 2 weeks, the OC will take on the winner of next week's Street Profits New Tokyo match. Tonight's main event could be the biggest night of Jay Lethal's career as he goes one-on-one with arguably the greatest professional wrestler of all time, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, in what is his first and quite possibly his last AEW 2K match. For the first 8 weeks of AEW 2K, it was the Nature Boy Ric Flair who was the general manager and overseer of AEW 2K. It prevented him from competing as long as he was the active general manager of AEW 2K. As rumors started circulating that the Nature Boy's contract with AEW 2K and the whole effing show was coming to an end in 3 weeks, with his last day on active roster being at Starrcade, which is only 2 more weeks away, the Nature Boy would come out and announce that he is stepping down as the active general manager of AEW 2K so that he can have one last match on AEW 2K. It was at that moment that Jay Lethal will be the wrestler to answer that call. Jay Lethal said if he wants to become the best wrestler in the world, then he needs to beat the best wrestler in the world. And he says that's the Nature Boy Ric Flair. To which Ric Flair replied, to be the man, you have to beat the man. Can Jay Lethal beat the man? The 16-time World Heavyweight Champion, the one and only Nature Boy Ric Flair, in tonight's main event. Tonight's main event, we are possibly looking at Ric Flair's first and last match in AEW 2K. After serving for the first 8 weeks as the AEW 2K General Manager, Ric Flair, whose contract was set to expire in 2 weeks from today at AEW Starrcade 2K, decided in his last couple of weeks that he was going to relinquish his spot as a general manager so that he could have one last match here tonight against Jay Lethal, who would stop him from walking away without that match. Jay Lethal, who grew up idolizing Ric Flair, following in his shoes, is looking to have the biggest victory of his entire career here tonight, going one-on-one with the man he called out because he said he wanted to beat the best wrestler in the world. Bicycle kick from Jay Lethal. Ric Flair able to kick out. Ric Flair said for Jay Lethal to be the man, he had to beat the man. Tonight, Jay Lethal has the opportunity to do just that. A victory here tonight would be huge for Jay Lethal. But as a fan, you kind of want to see Ric Flair go out with the victory in his final match in AEW. Will Ric Flair pass the torch here tonight? Will Jay Lethal become the man? Or will Ric Flair ride off into sunset with that last victory and halt another upstart from taking his spot at the top of the mountain? Nice reversal from Jay Lethal. Been watching Ric Flair long enough, you could tell he had that move well scouted. And Ric Flair has the advantage as this match goes to the outside. You have to believe they don't call him the dirtiest player for nothing. And a knife edge chop, and Ric Flair holding on and hitting him with a consecutive knife edge chop. And mercifully, Ric Flair throws Jay Lethal back into the ring. Ric Flair, who definitely holds the advantage on the outside, doesn't want his only victory to come in a countout. That ego could cost him here tonight, though, taking on Jay Lethal. And a spike pile driver from Ric Flair to Jay Lethal, but Jay Lethal wisely rolls out of the ring. But Ric Flair, atomic drop, is wasting no time, gives Jay Lethal no space. Jay Lethal had to create an opening, but Ric Flair has been in control since this match hit outside the ring. And the way things are going, I was going to say, this match is starting to fall into Ric Flair's type of pace. But a nice spike pop, DDT from Jay Lethal. And now Ric Flair hanging on the ropes He's in a bad position, but Jay Lethal second-guessed himself. He second-guessed if he should have did what he needed to do to win this matchup. He didn't want to injure Ric Flair. And that just might cost him, as Ric Flair is locking on the figure 4 leg lock. Will Jay Lethal tap out? Jay Lethal in pain. Will Jay Lethal tap out? Jay Lethal able to turn around and reverse the hold, relieving himself of the pressure of that figure 4 leg drop. I meant to say leg lock. Oh my goodness. Jay Lethal, who hesitated for a moment, almost lost because of that hesitation, as Ric Flair, the vet that he is, will take advantage of that to lock on the figure 4 leg lock. And Jay Lethal's leg has got to be spaghetti at this point after being in that hole. And I think that turned a switch on to Jay Lethal, who understands now that Ric Flair did not come here tonight to lay down or pass the torch. And a schoolboy roll-up from Ric Flair. Is that it? Jay Lethal able to kick out in the last moment. And a chop from Ric Flair. But Jay Lethal returns one with a single leg drop kick to follow. And now Jay Lethal with the arm bar of his own. Ric Flair able to counter. Jay Lethal's been pulling out a lot of wrestlers' move in this matchup, from MJF to Jay White. A true student of the game. Vertical suplex from Ric Flair. While Jay Lethal might be a student of the game, can he beat the teacher here tonight? And wait a minute, Jay Lethal just starting to unload with punches on Ric Flair. This match is starting to turn into a fight. Jay Lethal probably didn't expect to be put in the trouble he's been put into this matchup against Ric Flair. He thought Ric Flair would gracefully bow out. But Ric Flair has been putting it to Jay Lethal this matchup. Lethal injection! Lethal injection! Jay Lethal just hit the lethal injection. Is that enough? Jay Lethal defeats Ric Flair in the main event of the AEW 2K. What a matchup. The torch has finally been passed. Jay Lethal can say he is the man. Jay Lethal can say he's the only person in AEW 2K to beat Ric Flair. He said he wanted to take on Ric Flair because he considered Ric Flair the best. Wait a minute! Do you hear that music? It can only mean one thing. CM Punk has arrived in AEW 2K Dynamite. The rumors are true. CM Punk, whose NXT 2K contract was set to expire, has done just that. And the man that many people call the best in the world is coming out to the AEW 2K ring for the first time. But what is his business with Jay Lethal and Ric Flair? Could it be the remarks that Jay Lethal made last week when he called out Ric Flair? He said he wanted to be the best in the world, and he felt to be the best in the world, he needed to beat Ric Flair, who he considered just that. Has CM Punk take offense to that remark from Jay Lethal? Wait a minute. CM Punk got Jay Lethal. And then go to sleep. And now CM Punk has Ric Flair in the go to sleep. CM Punk has laid out.
Here is your winner.
CM Punk has made a huge statement here tonight, knocking out both Ric Flair and Jay Lethal.